Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from Brandon Olmsted's horror-themed man cave, better known as the Dungeon of 1,000 Sorrows. Pretty aptly. I mean, you know, branding is important, and I'd say he nailed it with that one.
It is the hockey mask through the centuries display in the corner is especially nice.
And he really maximized the space down here. I mean, it's not working with a lot, but man, does he really make all the space work.
And just remember, that's not a wind chime.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I've ever met that has a machete chime. It's pretty cool.
I really wish he didn't get so accurate with the smell-o-vision part of this, but
it's
you know.
kind of like that.
What are you going to do? Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And actually, Brandon's in the next room getting ready. Allan, I don't know what sort of mental preparation he's doing, but he's getting ready because later in the show, we're going to finally interview our guest of honor for the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, Mo Collins.
Awesome.
We don't have her for long. It's going to be a two-part interview. So here's what we're doing, Allan. We're going to interview her in the third segment of the show, and then we've got she's going to stick around with us a little longer, and we're going to play that in the bonus content. So today's digital version, today's podcast version of Geek Tank Radio is going to be a little bit longer, right?
Excellent.
So that'll be cool. So it'll be a two-part, and we're going to talk to her about her. I hope we can mostly talk to her about the comedy stuff because I don't have the stomach to discuss Fear the Walking Dead or some of that horror stuff. I know she's a part of that, but hopefully she won't mind just sticking to that.
Yeah, you're too late. She's in there with Brandon.
Yeah.
They're sharpening things now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's probably loving the basement.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, Allan, while Brandon's out, while he's in the next room, I think you and I are going to take advantage of, you and I love talking science. This could be a whole science show if we wanted it to be. So, what do you have for us in science later?
I've got a follow-up on a story we've already broached once, and that is the fact that creepy dolls keep washing up on the beaches of Texas.
Oh, that's the science. Okay.
I got creepy dolls, and the other science I had was, tourists just went into space. We just actually had a luxury space launch.
Yeah.
And tourists, not astronauts, people like you and me, but with a lot more money.
What company?
SpaceX.
Okay, so he brought them up.
They went up and they discovered the harsh reality.
Yeah.
Of that, toilets don't work in space the way they do here.
Or in Star Wars or something. Yeah. Well, let's zero in on that, Allan. I want to talk a little bit more about that. So what do you got? So space travel is very exciting, but it's probably not as clean or sanitary as we would like, right? I'm trying to tread lightly around here. People are eating their breakfast, so.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. Here we go. Let's just say, there's a wonderful commercial out right now that basically has a message: everybody poops.
Yeah, that's been around for a while, but yeah.
All right, our space program has legendarily had one overarching problem during its entire time, and that's going to the potty.
I think throughout world history, that's been an ongoing. I'd like to be one of those knights in your battle armor, and then nature calls.
I think Iron Man covered that in the movie, going, "Yeah, you ought to see the system in here."
Yeah.
SpaceX just really has leaned into this space tourism thing, and in the last couple of weeks, tourists have been to space.
I mean, that is pretty neat. So, what do? They take them up, they orbit a bit.
Yes.
Flying back? Okay.
Yeah.
So
there's a movie called Ad Astra with Brad Pitt in it, and it actually makes me think of when space tourism will become standardized, because there's that scene where he's on the moon, and it's literally like an international airport. It's like, there's a subway, there's a there's like a statue. Yeah, there's a Starbucks. So it's like we're waiting for that time, but they just got to figure out, like with international airports these days, how to go potty.
Yeah. Well, especially in zero G, right, Allan?
Welcome to
That's
zero
where
G,
it gets a little dicey.
And vacuum packing.
Right.
Let's go back to the the adventure had by Commander Tom Stafford, who is in an official NASA transcript.
Be careful,
for
Allan.
saying, "Give me a napkin quick." There's a turd floating through the air.
Allan, okay, gosh. Can you bleep that out, Max? So, okay, for one thing, I'd want more than a napkin in that situation.
Well, I'm just saying that is part of our official transcript. So the thing is that our technology is basically vacuum powered.
Sure, yeah.
So
storage capacity.
Well, and apparently the storage capacity doesn't work well.
Okay. So that's something they're still working out.
They are literally still working out the bugs on this.
Okay.
NASA thought they had it nailed pretty good, and that's why they've gone ahead and said, all right, we can do space tourism, but the crew on the Crew Dragon capsules, they accidentally discovered, a small leak in one of the containment units after the last flight.
Jeez.
And I was just like going, oh.
Okay.
Can you just imagine being, you pay all of this money, you go up in space, and.
Well, I mean, it'll give you an appreciation for the challenges of space travel. So, but it's always the most primal and basic things that come back to bite us, isn't it? So.
It always is. And it's just one of those things that just hasn't really solved perfectly.
This is where the Star Trek transporter could be a very valuable thing. You could transport out things you don't need and just keep working. So
I'm just thinking I'm remembering Quark and space baggies.
Yeah.
So, I'm just kind of like, you don't really see this in your modern science fiction movies.
No.
You don't run into this problem too often.
They avoid that conversation. So, well, hey, Allan, okay, I don't know. Did they but this is happening. This is live.
This is an ongoing issue that was going to be resolved shortly. So we're going to have to follow this story just because,
that's what we do here.
It's part of what we do.
Okay. Hey, Allan, this will be interesting. I don't know where this is coming from, but apparently creepy dolls are washing up on the shores.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yes,
listening to Geek Tank Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Your hippogriff just went number 2 in my front yard. The Geek Patrol is back.
Looks like I picked the wrong week, too, to give him that high-fiber diet, Allan. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. Oddly appropriate rejoinder there, Max. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Homestead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. I'm glad Brandon is still outside the room. I don't know what he's doing. He's getting himself all mentally prepared for our upcoming interview.
He is just sitting there giggling, watching zombie movies.
I guess
know
so.
What he's doing.
Hippogriff grade fecal collection bags. Just interesting.
Okay, let's watch our.
That's going to be at least 10 mil.
People are eating their breakfast, Max. But,
not anymore.
Hey, Allan, coming up in the next segment, we definitely need you to stay tuned because we have a 2-part interview coming up with our celebrity guest of honor, Mo Collins from the. She's going to be at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, and we're going to interview her coming up shortly. But Allan, so stay tuned for that, folks. But before we get to that, Allan, is this science or is this?
Hail science!
Sounds more like a monster movie, but
it's a little bit.
There
of
are
both.
Developments on the beaches of America, right?
We broke this story of Nerdnet 9 a few weeks ago, and that is just north of North Padre Island, between North Padre and Matagorda.
Where is that?
That is about a third of the way down the state of Texas, on the Gulf of Mexico side.
It all happens in Texas.
And there's a big, beautiful turtle reserve there with a sea turtle's nest and all that. So they pay a lot of attention to the beaches down there. And over the last 15 years, basically whatever falls in the ocean winds up somewhere else.
So the currents,
the currents move stuff around, carry things around. Well, somewhere out there, a container load of plastic baby dolls wound up in the ocean.
Now we're talking. I mean, it's not good, but at least it's entertaining.
And I mean, they're fair size. I mean, these are baby-sized baby dolls. And of course, they've been floating in the ocean for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So they come in.
Oh, so they've got that nice patina. That
well, they've got barnacles.
Oh, so these are Swamp Thing babies and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
They probably have third generation plankton latched onto them.
Yeah, it's some of these
I
guys.
didn't think of that.
These guys are entire ecosystems unto themselves.
No, they're like those guys from Pirates of the Caribbean who are literally covered in the sea stuff.
That's okay. That's a good one. Or the pirate captain from Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, so. Man, you're there. You're there with me.
And they're showing up in Texas. So.
They're showing up, man. And I had the question. I was kind of like, all right, so what are they doing with them? Just throwing them away or whatever?
Oh, I can't throw them away.
That was
they
my
their
kind
own
of
monument.
Point. And it turns out that the organization down there has been auctioning them off.
Bingo. Make some money on this.
Absolutely. So the Mission Aransas Reserve and they've been collecting these things, and the better examples of weird stuff that washes up on the beach goes to auction, and they've brought in over $3,000.
I was going to say, because, I mean, why not? They're trying to make money. They're the one doing the work of cleaning this stuff up.
And I'm sitting here thinking of our friends like, Brandon,
right,
and kind of stuff that love to collect stuff like this, or Mr. Robert.
Oh, I'd put this on my fireplace, man.
And I'm just kind of going, I'm going to have to sign up for the auction for the next one.
Right.
Because it's just, just things happen.
I could see this going for quite a bit of money.
I mean, do you put these in like airtight cases? Because you're buying something from the sea, and it's like, what are you going to be bringing into your household? Yeah, exactly. Like you have like slugs or something like that, just like washing up. It's like you have to make sure that nothing gets out and like causes like an infection or something.
I didn't think of that. Who knows what's living inside? If it's got barnacles on the outside, what has it got on the inside? So,
that is just part of the.
That's part of the game.
That is just part of the special little part of this.
I don't know, Alan. I think you might have to post some pictures on the
we're
Geek
gonna
Tank
have to.
Radio Facebook
I love the
page.
little picture of the mermaid doll that washed up. Oh my gosh! Seriously.
So 20 years, and that one looks like it's in pretty good shape. The hair.
Yeah.
I guess what that really tells me is, I mean, what are archaeologists going to discover? 200 years from now on all this stuff that we made.
Back when I was in college. We talked. One of my anthropology teachers talked about how, the anthropologists kind of work with yesteryear's junk.
Right.
And so this is our junk, but like 1,000 years from now, they're going to see this sort of stuff and be like, what did they do?
Yeah, and how did we survive? How did we get here? Because how did these ancestors survive? So, but I don't know, Alan. I like that they're auctioning them off because this would be a showpiece for sure. So, I mean,
it goes to support cleaning the beaches and the turtle hatchery and everything up there in the big nature preserve. So I find it wonderful that they're making good use of what bizarrely is being delivered to them.
Okay. Yeah,
and
that's the weirder one that I've seen. I mean,
and it just kind of goes to show everything has a kind of an unintended consequence or second life.
Oh, yeah. You never know when these things are going to pop up again.
You don't know. So, I mean, so some company ordered a bunch of stuff from some other company and it fell off a boat somewhere. And 15 years later, here they come.
Well, Alan, I think you got to post some pictures of this one.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. Hey, Alan, coming up here, now Brandon better get his Kadiddlehofer in here because he's been getting all prepped for this. But Mo Collins is going to be calling in, and we're going to talk. So we're doing this in two ways, Alan. We're going to talk to her in the third part of the third segment of the show. And then we're going to get her to stick around a little, and this is going to be a little bonus digital content. So we're going to chat with her in two parts. So after this airs, you got to definitely get over and check out Geek Tank Radio on our different platforms, YouTube, Spotify, go to geektankradio.com, go to our Facebook page, and the links are there. So once Allan gets it posted, you can hear the full conversation. But we're all really looking forward to meeting Mo Collins. She's a really funny lady, very talented. She does so much that we probably won't be able to discuss everything, but she does play Joan Calamezzo on Parks and Rec.
Yes.
We have to ask about that. So that's coming up here next on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. If you cut open a Sarlacc stomach, it would pretty much look like this radio show. The Geek Patrol is back.
Brandon, that is one of the most accurate depictions I've heard. I mean,
well
done, Max.
It's only because we come in here to record after, that Tool Talk radio show.
Absolutely.
It's a mess.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead and Max over there behind the glass. And let's just jump right in. Our special guest, we've been teasing this all day. We have Mo Collins right on the phone with us. Mo, how's it going today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
We
can't complain.
Very excited. So Mo, you're going to be I don't know, did your agent warn you in advance? You're going to be coming to Memphis at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention as our guest of honor.
Yeah, well, I know I'm coming to Memphis. That's why we're talking right now. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that was a
we were just
stupid
wondering.
setup, so,
we were wondering if there was any warnings that were given to you in advance because it's
what you're in for.
Yeah.
So okay,
we're a little different.
Mo,
What do you think I haven't been through in my 57 years of life that I need to be warned about with you two chumps? Huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I have checked your IMDb credits. You have probably been through way more than we will ever see.
Right. Yeah. Hey, and Mo,
I guarantee you, I already have.
Oh, I know. I'm just gonna be real upfront with you right now. I have no stomach for horror stuff, so I am not at all. I'm not familiar with your work on Fear the Walking Dead. I was really eager today to talk to you about your comedy work, so I hope that's cool with you.
All right.
Okay. Hey,
I hope you can stomach that.
Can we, Brandon? I just want to kick this up. Can we ask you about Mad TV? How did you get signed for that? That is one of the most. I feel is it right to call it underrated? Because I think if YouTube was around, was a thing back then, you guys would be the biggest thing ever.
Well,
I don't know, but what do you think, Mo?
Yeah, but we weren't, unfortunately. I agree with you. It's like we unfortunately were not around. When YouTube was going and everything was thrown on the internet. So we missed out on that. But the thing is, that's so insane is that we still have legs. You know what I'm saying? Like people are still watching our stuff on YouTube. HBO Max had our seasons playing on their channel. They were streaming again. It's like we're underrated. I don't know. I mean, you could say that Fox didn't support us when we were on, and that is true.
Well, that honestly,
I think that's what I meant. Yeah.
That sounds very indicative of Fox at the time, as it was. But yeah, I have noticed that it's like things that I didn't even realize were part of Mad TV. It's like. Or actors and actresses from Mad TV that are, I see everywhere else now. And, you see this little skit. It's like, hey, I know her. Hey, I know him. Have you guys ever talked about, trying to revive the show?
Oh, very interesting.
We did revive the show. We did that. We did that, I want to say we did a reunion show. I don't know. And it was horrible. And that was sometime, 2017, 2018. And then they did try to do Mad TV itself again. They tried to do that in primetime CW, which you cannot do.
Oh,
it just doesn't work, So there was a whole new cast. I guested on it one time, but it kind of knew it wasn't going to work. First of all, Mad TV lived in its time. Do you know what I mean? Like half the stuff we did we couldn't even do today. It lived in its time. Yeah, and then when CW tried to do it, like I say, they did prime time. It's just what we learned in that is that some shows they can't keep going forward. You know what I mean? Like it was of its time, and now it's just an iconic show.
Hey, Mo, you played a lot of characters on that show, but there's one in particular, Lorraine, which I'm sure you get asked about a lot. But I swear I've met people like her. Where did that character come from? Because she's something else.
Well, I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's kind of just an amalgamation of a lot of the women that I knew or saw growing up in Minnesota. And there she is, the Muppet that she is.
Who created Lorraine? Is that one of your creations?
Oh, yeah, she's mine. I own her.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Lorraine is great. For those if you haven't seen, she's just nuts. I think one of the funniest sketches I ever saw, whereas Lorraine was at a rummage sale wanting to buy a 25-cent box of thumbtacks, and it turned into a big it was a big drama. She just couldn't make up her mind, and I mean,
yeah, that was the first Lorraine sketch. That was the very first one, and we used to do Lorraine because Lorraine, was such a slow discovery of things,
Right.
And we used to have to do her in three-part sketches on the show to make it work. But then we figured out a way how to just clip it down and make, your basic one-off sketch with her. But yeah, that was the first one.
She's great. So, what about Trina? Another great one is Trina. Is she psychotic, or is she? Because I like the one where she's working at the OBGYN office and she wants to babysit the woman's kid, and she just that's a cool one.
I think that was the first Trina. She's my character too. I auditioned with her as well. She was actually based on my dental hygienist growing up.
Oh,
the only
really?
difference is my dental hygienist had a hair lip. Yeah, that's the only thing is I couldn't do a hair lip. She had a hair lip, but I didn't have that.
So you grew up with a lot of characters out there. So in Minnesota, you don't have the accent, do you?
Yeah, I do, depending on who I'm hanging out with and talking with. Yeah.
Oh man,
I do. It's in there.
It's like that situation when you're back home, you start falling back into your normal staccato as opposed to the one that you would put on when you're like on set.
Yeah. Mad TV. Gosh.
Yeah, but a lot of people, a lot of people think that it's just really thick everywhere up there, and it's not. It's like in the same way that you're in Memphis, and people from outside, your state think that you talk with a twang, right?
Right.
Well, the same thing happens to people talking about Minnesota. We're not all, you might hear some long O's in there, but it's not like you think.
Yeah.
Unless you get out in rural, then it does get thicker, obviously. But that's true no matter where you go in the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, you listen to Joe, you'd never guess he was from Chicago.
Yeah, you'd never tell I have a Chicago accent. So, hey, Mo, we got to take a quick break, and I just want to remind people we're doing this a little different today. We're going to have an extended conversation with Mo on our digital platform. But Mo, we're going to put a pin in it for right now, and then we're going to be talking to you in our extended footage. Is that cool?
You got it.
All right, talk to you soon. Thanks, Mo. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio.
Yep.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
And welcome to our bonus digital content here on Geek Tank Radio with our special guest, Mo Collins. Mo is going to be our celebrity guest at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. She's going to be appearing November 10th and 11th. However, the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention is going to be going on November 10th through 12th. You can learn more at memphiscfc.com. And don't forget, we're partnered up with all of our sister stations. I can't wait to see the Kicks 106 people over here, Brandon. That's going to be a riot.
Their booth is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that now.
But Mo, thanks so much for sticking around with us. We want to, we want to talk about Parks and Rec because you played a character. Do I have the name right? Joan Calamezzo. I think I've heard of her. Brandon, have you?
Joe, don't even pretend.
So we're not going to go through the whole biography because I dare say everybody knows Joan Calamezzo, right?
And I just have to say, with as many episodes of Parks and Rec that there were, having one of what is probably one of the most standout side characters in the show, we're really excited about having you in Memphis.
Yeah. So Mo,
very cool.
We don't have you for very long, so we're gonna probably just bullet point you a bunch of questions. Is that cool?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Only because there's so I got pages of notes here, but I gotta ask who was the hairstylist for Joan Calamezzo? Because
there were multiple people. But the fun thing is that's all my hair. That was I show up and I got a lot of hair, and they would get real excited. And the higher the hair, the closer to God. So and to the bar for Joan. So that worked out.
Did you play around with that at
Yeah.
all at home? And you'd go, okay, why don't y'all try this or something? So.
Oh, I very much love to kind of help direct from the chair what's going on with the hair.
Yeah.
I've always sort of done that. It's like I like to help shape my character in the mirror, if you will. So, yeah, we had some fun. For sure.
I definitely want to talk about the culture on the set, because it seems like it was a very unique culture. But I had one more question that's been just really bugging me ever since I saw it on the first episode. So there's an episode, and Mo, we're on the radio, so we have to be very careful how we do this. But you went out to Joan Calamezzo went out to dinner with Tom and Ben, and my humor is usually just pretty goofy. I like goofy sense of humor, but I've always had like that bleep out stuff. Always cracks me up when they bleep out inappropriate words. Well, you had an epic bleep out segment with those guys, and I'm wondering, did you say something real, or were you just saying a bunch of gibberish and they bleeped it out? Or I guess I'm wondering what happened there. Don't look at me that way, Brandon.
I mean, the script itself had that it was going to be bleeped, so there was no word. But, of course, me being who I am, and I'm a big improviser, and I love to play, so I'm sure that I was saying things in.
Oh, you don't remember that? I mean, that's a very iconic scene, Mo. You don't remember what you said there?
Oh, you're talking about the one where she goes to powder her what, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, and like I said, we're on the radio, but yeah, exactly. She said, "I'm gonna blank." It just went on and on and on, beeping and Never mind. I probably ought to move it along.
Well, yeah,
I've been very curious though if that was in the script.
I think what Joe, the way to say it here on the air.
In the script, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
The here, I mean, of course, you're an improv actor, so. I'm sure you did something, but I think Joe's wanting to get as close to asking how blue you really took it to see if you could get a reaction out of Adam Scott and Aziz Ansari, because the look on Tom's face as you were saying it.
Yeah, isn't that your job? Don't you guys try to break each other up?
We don't try to break each other up. No, we just try and do what's best for the scene, and it just so happens to be hilarious, and you break each other up.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we try not to break up, because that means you're wasting time and tape.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
But obviously there's just some scenes that is just too fun, and I mean we're making comedy after all. It should be fun, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, but that was just such a great silly scene to tape.
That one stood out. But hey, Mo, Parks and Rec is one of those shows we know it back. That's sort of a comfort food show. I can say that for me, Brandon. I mean, I've seen every episode so many times. And but what seems to translate through it just seems like everybody on the show genuinely likes each other. Like, it seems like there's a real chemistry between every character, but everybody there is actually having a lot of fun. And Amy Poehler seems like she'd be really, I don't know, outstanding to work with. What do you have to say about all that? So.
I think what you're saying is true, and here's what I have to say about that. Because Amy was the captain of that ship, you don't get to get on that ship and have a bigger ego, right? And she doesn't have one. She's extremely humble. So, when the captain of the ship says, "Welcome aboard, come on up, have fun, or get off," you don't get to come up. Yeah. It's like she filled the ship with a bunch of crazy fools who just want to have fun and make comedy. But no egos, Yeah. It just wasn't about that. It wasn't. That's where it sort of lived in the world it was actually portraying, which was this humble, Pawnee world, very much outside of Hollywood. So the show itself operated very unlike Hollywood in terms of attitude. It was great fun. Everybody was just lovely, really great.
It's funny you say that, because it doesn't feel like a normal show. I mean, even I know it's formatted similar to The Office, but it really feels like its own. There's like all the other shows, and then there's Parks and Rec. I don't know. Oh. Is that wrong to say?
It's absolutely not wrong to say. The one thing that I will, and me and Joe fight about which is better, Parks and Rec or The Office, all the time. And my reason for liking Parks and Rec more than The Office is the fact that everybody there, even the sleaziest of characters that might show up, like, Jean-Ralphio and stuff like that. Every one of those characters has a likable quality. Even if you don't want to like them, you find yourself loving these characters. And that's one of the reasons why it was a great comfort show.
That's a good point.
Silly. It was silly. It was silly, and there was heart. It's kind of I think you put it so well by calling it comfort food. It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And it's really an ensemble cast. I was surprised because I always like to do a little research, Mo, and I found out Joan she's in 19 episodes, but I swear it felt like a lot more. I thought you were in like 100 episodes, but you're very impactful every time you're on screen.
Thank you. Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that. People don't realize that I was really only working once or twice a year on the show. Like I was very much not working a lot. So it was great when I would get the call. But the cumulative Joan is very impactful. Yeah.
Well, I've heard. I don't remember the term exact. You can clarify the term, but is it true that they would do? So you get your takes, you do what's on the script, and then they might do, what do they call it, a fun run or something like that, and then they shoot it again, and they may get something that's even better than what they had scripted or something like that. Is that kind of how they operate? And I guess I'm wondering what sort of gold did they ever get out of that?
Well, I think that is true depending on who's in front of the camera, and so you've got somebody like me where I go until somebody calls cut, right? But when I would show up, Amy's just like, well, Mo's here, keep the camera rolling, because it's sort of like mining for gold, right? You just see what else is there that's not on the page. And we did this all the time on Mad TV too. We definitely did what we call the first pass.
Right.
Make sure you've got what is on the page, for editing purposes. But then it's like, okay, gloves off, and it's Michael McDonald and I and whoever else feels comfortable improvising. And I mean, this sketch would go 10 minutes before, like it was just, we were mining for gold. That's what I always call it, just mining for comedy gold. And so, they did that on Parks and Rec too. And of course, the wonderful producers or director that was working on the show too, they would go, oh, let's try this way this time. Like toss this in, toss that in, and see what happens. It's all about finding what's the absolute best choice to ultimately put on the television.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, though, that supports that is the great writing. We've seen bad dialogue, Brandon. We've seen you guys are given such punchy, great. I mean, you're given really great things to say, which has got to help.
They have great, fantastic writers, just A+ writers, and they're on strike right now, and I say pay them.
Absolutely,
pay them, because you get shows like Parks and Recreation. Pay them. Give them a living wage. For God's
Absolutely.
sake.
Yeah, we were just talking about that a couple weeks ago, Mo. We're right there with you, because it's like, for people that say, well, they're just writing. I mean, you try coming up with an idea out of thin air, and really that's the basis for everything that's happening. That's not easy at all. So
it is not. And then you've got the standards of the networks and everybody else that's reading it. It's a huge and hard process. Writers are gold in my book. Like, they are the kings. We're nothing without them. They're where it starts.
Hey, Mo, I know we don't have you very long today, so I got to ask you one thing. I've heard your name mentioned on the Phil Henry show, and I am one of the biggest Phil Henry fans out there. And for people that don't know, well, now it's kind of odd because Brandon, well, anyway, I don't want to get into that, but I think I'm correct in saying this, as of now, he's not even in the Radio Broadcasters Hall of Fame, which to me is one of the greatest injustices of all time. But I think that guy is a legitimate genius. What can you tell me anything about Phil Henry?
He is. I can tell you, on top of being a genius, you are correct in calling him that. He is also one of the kindest people you will ever get to meet. I had the great privilege of working with him on F is for Family, the animated series. And I mean, we'd do the table reads for it, and just to be sitting in the room with Phil Hendry and watch him as he's doing voices, to me was just like I was geeking out.
Okay.
Out because he is it. I love him. But we're good friends. I just adore him.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I can maybe I might have to send you a message that you can pass along to him, because I'm just in awe, and I listen to his podcast every day. I just think that guy he should be the most famous person on radio. Although I think he's a little miffed with radio right now, Brandon. So
Aren't we all?
Yeah. But anyway, hey Mo, I know you're short on time, so I just want to let everybody know you're going to be at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention November. You'll be appearing November 10th and 11th. Have you ever been to Memphis before?
I haven't. I've driven through Tennessee before, been through some caves, but I know I have not been to Memphis, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. I love everything I see about Memphis. I love. So this is a great chance for me to get there and see people and places and things, as long as they're appropriate.
Right. Yeah, awesome. So, hey Mo, what do you like to eat? What's your go-to? Because we got to make sure you get some Memphis cuisine out here.
Oh, sour cream. Anything with sour cream.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's that great sour cream restaurant, Brandon. Okay, we're gonna have to work on that, Mo. Okay, but anyway.
Well, the biggest worry is there will be barbecue.
Yeah, but Mo, you're a big animal advocate, and maybe we can talk about that the next time we visit with you. So
I eat fish. But
salmon
I
is great on a grill.
Okay, Soulfish Grill. That's where we're going.
There we go.
So,
I know it is.
They have
salmon. I'll do that.
Okay, we got you. We got you fixed up, Mo. We're very excited about seeing you in November, and we'll stay in touch. I may have to get a little personal note to Phil Hendry now that I've got an in. So, but Mo, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll be talking to you soon, and we'll look forward to seeing you in November.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Mo.
And guys, listeners at home, if you want more content like this, a little beyond the radio, just drop us a line at geektankradio@gmail.com. Tell us what you'd like to see us talk about more in depth in our digital extras.
Yeah, absolutely. So
this was a really fun conversation. There's so much that I would have liked to have asked her that I know we didn't have time for, like how she would feel if we printed up a bunch of the Joan Calamezzo gotcha stickers for her book club thing and for her to sign at the convention.
Well, it sounds like we're going to be talking to her again. We mostly wanted to, since we just announced her, we wanted to get her on the show and do that. But very nice lady.
And this is genuinely the first time we've got a chance to talk to her about something other than business. So it was a lot of fun.
But I think you're right, Brandon. We need to do more of this extra digital content. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you've been listening to, actually our first bonus feature.
Geek Tank Digital.
So, but until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmstead. And this whole new internet world, I don't know what to say just yet.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Muppets hate these guys. The Geek Patrol is back.
That's because we look like them now. We look like Waldorf and Statler.
When you got to quit sending that fan mail. Allan,
no, I think it's because I think the Muppets were mad that Allan told them that they were not alive.
Yeah, they're in an existential crisis. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And I don't know, Brandon has been in and out. He just, he was just here a minute ago. Where'd he get?
Well, I heard something about zombies again and giggling. And I'm like, oh, he and Mo are going to keep talking.
Maybe he's talking to her still.
Yeah.
So
maybe it's PR with the Muppets.
Maybe. It's probably good. He's having a little, conversation with her, I'm sure. But anyway, hey, you guys, so if you're just tuning in, boy, we've had an interesting show, Allan. We've ruined people's breakfast talking about space bathrooms, basically, and the challenges that they're facing with that. Talked about the creepy dolls washing up on the shores of Texas. And we just had a really cool conversation with Mo Collins, who is going to be our celebrity guest at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, November 10th through 12th at the Holiday Inn at the University of Memphis. Now, she's only going to be there the 10th and 11th. So, folks, don't show up on Sunday thinking you're going to meet Mo Collins. Friday or Saturday, she'll be there, and we'll be posting more about that. But, Allan, we had a brief conversation with her, but if they tune into the podcast, once you post it on Spotify, YouTube, and our other platforms, they're going to hear a bonus conversation with her. So she's sticking around for a second conversation. But if you want to learn more about the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, go to memphiscfc.com and definitely go to our Facebook page because we make a lot of posts there. So, Allan, okay, let's This shouldn't ruin anybody's breakfast, I don't think. But, a new trailer for the Flash movie came out. I think it's the final trailer.
It did.
And how much drama has been surrounding this movie between behind-the-scenes antics with, actors and things like that. And really, though, what I watched the trailer, what I'm seeing is basically fan service being vomited all over the screen. I mean, isn't this a fan service?
So much for ruining breakfast still.
Well, I'm just saying that's what this movie is. And let's face it, this movie to a lot of people is it's a Michael Keaton Batman movie with the Flash in it, right? I mean, I'm sorry. It's just it's a lot of just.
Okay, we got the best quote.
Okay.
From Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
You want to go nuts? Let's go nuts. I'm like, all right.
Did he? Okay, go ahead.
Well,
I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna get. You can deliver. I'm gonna tell you this right now. You can send all your hate mail to geektankradio@gmail.com. But Allan, I'm sorry. I've been consistent with this. Michael Keaton is awesome. He is one of the coolest actors out there.
Yes.
I never thought he was the right call for Batman. And even going back to 1989, he was just not my choice for Batman.
I did.
Whatever. I'm just saying that's my thing. So
I thought
he looks nothing like the Batman I picture in the comics or whatever. He's got a certain goofiness. He was just playing Mr. Mom, and now he's Batman. So whatever. I'm just saying. So I have mixed emotions about watching this. So.
I'm going to say that he was probably the single best Bruce Wayne because he was actually a detective. He actually solved a problem, and then he put on the suit.
Okay, because for me, the Robert Pattinson version of the Batman is going to be my favorite still. Actually, I like the Ben Affleck version of Batman as well, even though he was violent and he killed people, so I didn't like that.
All right, let's remember, Michael Keaton took on an almost thankless job in that first Batman because it was still being made like a comic book movie.
Yeah. And I love that movie. That movie holds up for me, actually.
It does.
And I love what Tim Burton did in making it a Gothic City, and I think Jack Nicholson's a great Joker. So, and Batman, he did a good job as Batman. I'm just saying he didn't look the part. That was maybe my biggest thing. He didn't look right to me. So,
keep in mind, he was just coming off of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much what Tim Burton wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm stoked to see him back in the bat leather.
Right.
Or
it'll be interesting.
Rubber or whatever it is. He's also, like other treatments of Batman, he's older. They're playing him like he's older. He's not going to run around like he's
age
20.
Appropriate. Yeah.
He's age appropriate. We all know this is part of their alternative. Well, at this point, it has to be part of an alternative universe.
It's the multiverse, basically.
Right. It's
their
basically
version of the
their
multiverse.
version of it.
Right.
Of the Flash, in spite of the actor's real life, let's face it, he's adorable on screen as the Flash.
Well, Max, you love the Flash, right? And especially the cartoon version. But
I really like kind of the Flash because he's got a lot of like the burden of a lot of power, and yet he's such a humorous guy. And yet maybe he uses that humor to kind of cloak a little bit of something else.
Yeah, he's like the Fred and George Weasley of the Justice League because he's the comic relief. He keeps everybody, he cuts that joke right at the time to just ease the tension and stuff.
But he's also a linchpin character,
right?
In the fact that he and Superman, between the two of them, are probably the most dangerous characters in the DC universe because they can break the sound and time barrier.
Right.
And the thing is, though, is the Flash isn't boring in terms of like being overpowered because my brother says that he doesn't like Superman because he's boring because he always wins. He's just
powerful.
Unstoppable.
Oh, the Flash can easily get horrible things can happen to him.
But see, I thought this movie was going to be more or less like the Flashpoint paradox, which is that's just basically an alternative past This one is like I mean, we're seeing Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton. We're seeing all sorts of other Flashes and alternate versions of Superman as a Supergirl. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get in this. Sounds like somebody just dumped their toy box onto the floor and said, "We're making a movie out of this." So I mean,
that's not how DC's been making movies. I'm just kind of saying. It's going to be, am I looking
Everybody's going to go see it, though.
Yeah, am I looking for a great epic? No. Am I looking for a good popcorn movie?
That's what this is.
Yeah. Is The Flash going to be likable and adorable? Yeah. Is it going to be kind of cool to meet Kara? Yeah, that's going to be kind of fun. It's kind of sad knowing we're probably not going to see any of these characters again.
Well, maybe that's what it is. So, and it's basically, like you said, go in there and with managed expectations. I would love to be surprised and find out this is a great, I will say the Batman motorcycle looks pretty cool.
It does look cool.
Anyway, so we'll be definitely following this with great interest, and it comes out in a couple weeks. So, all right, Allan, it's time to get out of here. I don't know where Brandon is, so too bad he misses out. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Allan Gilbert, reminding you that somewhere, someplace, somehow, there could be a scary doll in your future.